Sliders. They're one of the first ways we learn to interact and control data in Grasshopper. They've got a few hidden tips and tricks. Let's take a look. For any brand newies out there, start with the Params tab, the Input section, click this icon once, click again on the canvas to drop your slider. Double-clicking brings up the search box, and you can type in number sliders. From Rhino 6 onwards, you can also just hit the spacebar to bring up that search box. Right-clicking on a slider brings up a bunch of options for you. You can rename your slider. You can enable and disable your slider, but you don't usually have to worry about this one. You can also change the slider type. So if you want to just choose integers, odd numbers, or even numbers, those options are there for you. They are handy from time to time to interact with that. We'll go into edit in a moment and edit snapping. But values here allows you to change the minimum and maximum. So they've got this roller interface. You can just drag and slide. And you can also double click and change the value as you want to. You can also directly enter the value, but this is the same as interacting with the slider itself. We'll go into some of these other options in another video. If we right-click on the slider and go to Edit Snapping, we can enter in a series of numbers that may be meaningful or important. If we move this out of the way, we can see that there are 3 darker dots on the slider, and as you drag the value around, it'll automatically snap to those values. So instead of going to the discrete numbers, it snaps straight to those specific values. Double-clicking the left-hand slide brings up the editing dialog. You can again change the name quite easily. The expression will skip over, and group style is something that I never really change. It's just an aesthetic difference. On the next area, you can choose the type of number you want to represent. So a real number, an integer, an even or odd number. For integers, evens, and odds, if you select any of them, you don't get the digit slider behind because they're full proper numbers. Clicking on the R brings up the ability to control the number of decimal places. We again have the roller interface, so you can just click and drag to slide to the value that you want. You can also double click into a cell to directly enter a value. The range allows you to specify a certain amount that you may want. Numeric value is no different to using the interface on the canvas. Sliders operate in orders of 10. So if I type 1 into the search box, I'll get a slider from 0 to 1. If I type in 10, I'll get a slider from 0 to 10. If I type in 51, I'll get a slider from 0 to 100. So anything above 100 and less than 1,000 that I type in will give me a slider from 0 to 1,000. So to get a specific input, you can type in the lowest value less than the exact value less than the maximum value. That will give you that slider from 11 to 16. You can quickly create a range slider by entering your minimum value followed by 2 periods followed by your maximum value. This will create the range you need very quickly. This is one of the tips I use the most often. This is for the more advanced users out there. You'll need to download MetaHopper for this one to work. Start with the slider and then pull out the Get Connected Objects component. You'll then need to set slider properties and connect Get Connected Objects to the slider input. A construct domain is what we need next. And this goes to the range. Can then input 2 more sliders of any values, both start and end. And you'll see that the value of our first slider has changed. As we move the domain around, the bounds of that first slider also change. This one could be really useful if you're not just connecting simple sliders, but if you're making this domain react to other inputs. So that's it for sliders. Let me know in the comments below if you found that useful, or if you've got a tip that you think should have made the list. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.